back to Life Through My Eyes. Today we're talking about one of the wildest, most mind-blowing stories in the Bible, the story of Lazarus. It's all about hope, friendship, faith, and how sometimes when things seem completely over, that's when miracles happen. Let's break it down in a way that makes sense for today. Okay, so Lazarus was this regular guy, and he had two sisters, Mary and Martha. They were all really good friends with Jesus, like close friends. The kind you text when you're going through it, and you know they'll be there for you. They all lived in this town called Bethany. One day Lazarus gets really sick, and it's not looking good. Mary and Martha are freaking out. So they send word to Jesus, who's out of town, like, Jesus, your friend Lazarus is super sick. You need to come quick. Now, you'd think Jesus would drop everything and rush to help, right? But surprisingly, he doesn't. He stays where he is for 2 more days. It's like when you call your best friend in a crisis and they're like, I'll be there soon, but they take their time. Why? Jesus had a bigger plan in mind. By the time Jesus finally arrives in Bethany, Lazarus has already been dead for 4 days. The funeral's over, people are mourning, and the vibe is heavy. Martha, Lazarus' sister, runs out to meet Jesus and says, if you had been here, my brother wouldn't have died. She's heartbroken and kind of upset, but at the same time, she knows Jesus can still do something. Jesus looks at her and says, your brother will rise again. Martha's thinking, yeah, I know he'll rise again at the end of time. But Jesus is like, no, you don't get it. I am the resurrection and the life. Whoever believes in me will live even though they die. Then Mary, the other sister, comes out to meet Jesus, and she's weeping. Jesus sees how devastated everyone is. And even though he knows what's about to happen, he's moved by their pain. This is where we get the shortest verse in the Bible. Jesus wept. That's right. The Son of God cried. It's such a real moment because it shows that even though he had the power to change everything, he still felt their pain. So Jesus goes to the tomb where Lazarus is buried. Now, this isn't like a modern grave. It's more like a cave with a big stone rolled in front of it. Jesus tells them, well, take away the stone. Martha's like, oh, Jesus, he's been dead for 4 days. It's going to smell really bad. But Jesus is undeterred. He says, didn't I tell you that if you believe, you'll see God's glory? They roll the stone away, and Jesus prays out loud, thanking God in advance for what's about to go down. Then he calls out in a loud voice, Lazarus, come out. And guess what? Lazarus, who had been dead for 4 days, walks out of the tomb alive and wrapped in burial clothes. People are shocked, amazed, and probably a little freaked out. But there it is. Lazarus is alive, and Jesus just showed everyone that death doesn't have the final word. So what's the takeaway from this story? First, it's all about trust. Mary and Martha had to trust Jesus, even when it seemed like he was late and all hope was gone. Sometimes we're in situations where it feels like it's too late for anything to change, but this story reminds us that nothing is too far gone for God to step in. Jesus knew what he was doing the whole time, even when it didn't make sense to them. Second, this story is a reminder that Jesus cares deeply about what we're going through. He's not distant or unfeeling. Even though he knew he was about to bring Lazarus back, he still felt the pain and loss of his friends. That's real compassion right there. And finally, it's a story about life and hope. Jesus didn't just raise Lazarus to show off. He did it to show that he has power over life and death. And that's still true today. Whatever seems dead in your life, a dream, a relationship, a hope, it's not over until God says it's over. This story tells us that there's always hope, even when it seems impossible. Thanks for tuning in today. Go ahead and hit that like button, and don't forget to subscribe for more modern takes on Bible stories that matter for your life today. Ciao.
This day to God.